Hey guys, here's a little walkthrough for our next logical rule, disjunctive syllogism. This is the one where if you have P or Q and you also have the negation of Q, then you can conclude P. So think about that in context like the other ones we did. Um, I'm either going to the park or I'm going to read quietly, and then I'm telling you I'm not reading quietly. So in order for my argument to be, valid, then I would have to conclude, well, then you must have gone to the park because you said you were going to the park or reading quietly. And if you're not reading quietly, you must be going to the park because it's got to be at least one of those two things for the or statement. Remember, the or statement is true when either one of them are true or both of them are true. If both of them are false, well, then the or statement is false. So there's no way you could end up with not P if you have not Q as well. And the order of these don't really matter. I could have easily just said, I'm not going to the park, and therefore I must be reading quietly. But this is just the standard way that they write the rule. So here's our first example to kind of see how that works. Let's say I'm giving you G or H, not G, therefore H. Either I'm doing G or I'm doing H. This is telling me that, hey, you're not doing G, so therefore you must be doing H. And the proof would simply be your premises, just like usual. Always start with those. And then your conclusion in this case would be the next step. You could simply say H from 1 and 2, disjunctive syllogism. All right, let's do another one. How about if I gave you A, negation of C, and if A, then B, or C. And we're going to try to prove B. Okay, so there's our setup of what's given and what we're trying to prove. So let's go ahead and set up our proof. Let's get our premises and A to B or C. These are all premises. Premise. All right, now we got to figure out, based on this given information, what can we conclude, or what can we say is our next step and be able to justify it. Well, hopefully you notice that we have negation of C, and we have this thing or that thing, not that thing, therefore this thing. The fact that there's multiple terms here doesn't really make a difference. It's just a matter of, oh, there goes my cat. It's just a matter of recognizing, it's got to be one of these things or the other. So if it's not C, it's got to be if A to B. So that's going to be from steps 2 and 3, disjunctive syllogism. And now that we have if A then B, and we already knew A from above, we can then say B using steps 1 and 4, modus ponens. So a lot of these proofs end up, having multiple rules that are associated with them, but this is how you would at least use the disjunctive syllogism part. And the key to this one is it's the only one so far that we have that's not the if-then. Right? Modus ponens was always P to Q with the arrow. Modus tollens was P to Q with the arrow. This is the first one where there's a wedge. So if you see a wedge, probably a good idea to consider disjunctive syllogism as a potential candidate for finding another step. All right, hopefully that helps, and be sure and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys later.